Hello guys, so welcome to my presentation about GCSE maths and how to get your son or daughter the best grades possible. Let's get into it. So what are the topics we'll be covering today? We'll be covering who am I and what authority I have to make this presentation. The four powerful habits of an A-star student or grade 9 student, or useful websites for GCSE maths, and our online tutoring program which helps students get those top grades. So let's get into it. Firstly, who am I? So this is me in school about say about 15 to 20 years ago. I was a bit of a class clown. I used to joke around a lot. But when I got home, I used to revise. I studied hard in my year 11 and also in my year 10. And I got an A star in maths, GCSE, and A level. I also got three A's in sciences. And I went off and studied chemical engineering at the University of Surrey, where I achieved a 2-1 in chemical engineering. From there, I worked as a senior scientist. I was a scientist for over 4 years before I started up on my own online tutoring business. Okay, so that was my life. So went through the traditional system of education, university, a career, and now I'm in business, in the tutoring business. So this is me at work as a senior scientist. This is when I got promoted, and I bought a thank you cake for everyone. And this is also me training. This is, if you can see, that's me training a colleague that was significantly older than me about our processes and procedures at my company. This is Zach the tutor, and this is my setup. This is my home desk. Right now, I'm working from my in-person classroom, which is not accessible to anyone in the UK. And that's that here. That's online. This is where I am now. This is my office. This is my work desk from home. These two are my work desk from home. So this is at night time when I normally work, and this is the daytime. This is how it looks in the day. So my tutoring experience. I've been a tutor now for over 10 years. I was hired directly from my tutor. So I had a tutor. I went to a tutoring center, and because I got A stars in my A level maths, the the headmaster of that tutoring center hired me to teach other year GCSEs and A level students maths. So that was my first tutoring job at the age of 18. From 18 all the way up to 21, 22, I was doing my own. I was working for different tutoring centers and tutoring agencies. Whilst I was at university, that's how I paid for my university up front. And then from there, I was focusing on my career and did a bit of tutoring on the side before I decided to go full in. And I've now established an online tutoring company called Ascend Tutors, which has been going smoothly for over 3 years. I've supported hundreds of students to achieve top grades in maths and science. And there's my Google reviews. So, what are the four powerful habits that students should develop when they're going into year 10 and 11 and parents should enforce? So, number one, it should be getting the students to get comfortable with getting the first bus home. And this is a very important habit. Why? Because from the moment they let out of school, let's say 3 o'clock to 3:30, until they get home, there's some students go home at 6, 7 o'clock. What are they doing for those 3 hours? Most likely they are not up to anything good. So that's why I strongly suggest that parents ensure their children come home straight after school. Let's say they get out 3 o'clock, give them 10, 15-minute leeway, and plus the bus journey, let's say they have to be home by 4. From 4 o'clock, you can get them, comfortable and get them relaxed for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, maybe, and start online tutoring or independent learning, depending on your circumstances. Getting your children to become friends with the smart people in the classroom, because when push comes to shove and you have questions, it's very easy to ask a friend than it is to ask a teacher. When you go and ask a teacher, you have to wait for when he's free. But if it's a friend, they're always going to be free. So definitely, I recommend students become friends with other people who are clever in the classroom. Revising consistently most days, but also having time off. So, the time off could be playing football, which is an extremely beneficial activity for the mind, for the body, for for mental health, absolutely everything that you could think of. Sports and exercise is extremely important, but also getting them to revise consistently, maybe 2 3 hours a day. It's not only for maths; it could be for science, it could be for English, it could be for a variety of topics. But revising consistently is the best way for your child to do well in their exams. Listening in class and asking questions. So, whether it be tutoring or whether it be in person in school, always ask questions, because without asking questions, you'll never know the real answer. You will never understand fully. You have to ask questions. Let's get into it. So, useful websites for GCSE maths. So, I've listed 5 useful GCSE maths websites. They consist of Math Genie, Corbett Maths, MME Revise, Third Space Learning, and the Physics and Math Tutor. Generally, what I recommend is that you focus on the first two. These two I would recommend highly for when you're learning. And also you can use YouTube as well. Yeah, you can use YouTube to learn the topic, but these two websites give you a lot of good questions specifically based on that topic. This one here is mainly used for learning and not for questions. So if you want to look over something, third space learning is very good. MME Revise gives you more questions, but this Math Tutor, I would say leave that until the end because they are exam style questions. The exam style. So don't look at this Math Tutor until you're very comfortable with the other questions. This is how you can revise independently. Okay, let's move on. So our online tutoring system and how we go about tutoring. So we're going to be talking about onboarding, what we do during our onboarding process. We'll also talk about the progression of our classes and how we go about our classes and our student to parent and tutor teamwork / responsibilities. So onboarding is very straightforward. There is a form that should be accessible to you. If you can't see it, let us know. We'll send you over a form. But you complete the online form. It should be in the page that if you leave this video straight below, you should see an online form. Okay, once you complete the online form, we'll send you a online math test. It's 60 minutes. The test is 60 minutes. Okay, and in that 60 minutes, you're gonna be asked a variety of questions, starting from easy and it goes right down to hard. Okay, it goes from basically grade 1 all the way down to grade 9, and it asks you a variety of topics, encompasses the entire syllabus. Okay, so that we know what questions and what topics you're weakest in. Once you complete your online test, you come back and we'll send you a link to book a free consultation with one of our tutors. Our tutor will go through what you went wrong, where you're weakest in, and how he or she will best support your learning needs. And that's it. From there, you discuss times and availabilities, and we get to teach. And that's our process. You complete online form, you do a test. Once you do the test, you do a free consultation. It should last anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, and the tutor will explain to you how we would best go about teaching. Next, let's go on. From there, we have the progression. So this is a small mind map of how the classes go. So from when you do a test, we will know straight away which book you need to go on to. So there's 5 different books starting from level 1, level 2 is here, level 3, level 4, and level 5. Okay, these are the 5 books that we cover from book 1 to book 5. If you're doing GCSE maths and you're in year 11, ideally we would want to start you from book 3. You should be on book 3. We shouldn't really be going to book 2. Okay, because of the level it's at. However, if push comes to shove and we have to go through book 2, then we haven't got a choice. So year 11 should be on book 3. It takes about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks ideally, to complete one book. So we do that a few times, book 3, book 4, book 5, along with the tests. So after every single book, the class begins and homework is set, of course. After a book is completed, there's an end of book test. And the end of book test, if you get above 70%, you move on to the next book, which is what we want, and we'll start again. The new book is assigned, and we'll go through the contents of that book, and then there's going to be an end of book test, and it goes again and again. It's a cycle. But if he doesn't or she doesn't score above 70%, what do? We go back to the topics that you did not do well in your test, and we revise those topics, maybe for another 2 to 3 weeks, to make sure that anything is ironed out, any issues or misunderstanding is ironed out. And then we redo the test, we redo a test. And then if you pass, then you go through this route. If not, we go again. And then once we finish all the books, we'll just go through exam, past papers, etc. Of course, I mentioned homework is set. So after, and I'm going to go into that now. Homework is set at the end of every single lesson, and it's always the homework. The homework is always going to be based on what is done in class. The students need to send the homework at least one day before the actual exam. This gives us enough time to mark the homework and to prepare the next lesson. One day is all we're asking for. So you have to say, if your class is on Tuesday, send it on a Monday. We send it, the homework would be sent through the parent or the student, depending on how the parent wishes. So either the parents can send it directly or the student can send it directly. It's up to them. So this is on this. Now we're moving on to the section about parent, student, and tutor responsibility. How do we all work together? So we also do expect parents to have responsibilities in this. It's not just give the student to the tutor and that's it. I'm not going to get involved. No, the parents need to get involved to some extent as well. We're going to get into it. So firstly, students need to concentrate in class and they need to make sure they always have the camera on. Because if they don't have the camera on, we'll never know if they're concentrating or not. Because of all the body language and all the, clues, whether or not that the student will give naturally on whether or not they're concentrating will be gone. We need the camera on. And it's the parent's responsibility to make sure that their student has an access to a device that has a camera. For example, an iPad, a laptop, not a mobile phone. We don't like to do classes on mobile phones because it's very the mobile phone in itself is a distraction. So laptops, computers, iPads are all fine. Okay, and the students also need to submit the homework a day before the actual class starts. So it gives the tutor enough time to mark the homework and send you feedback as well as plan for the next lesson. So parents, you need to ensure the student completes their homework. That's your responsibility. You need to be on it with that. Like, we are not physically at home with them. Once we complete our hours, we expect their work to be done. And that automatically falls on you as well. So that's what we need. Okay, we need their homework to be done at all times. And also, parents need to pay the fees on time. So at the beginning of the month is when we take our payments. It needs to be done so we can focus on actually teaching rather than us chasing for payment. That makes sense. Tutors, what do? We explain the topics extremely well. We explain the topic and make sure the student understands it before they leave. Okay? We set homework after the class as well. Homework is set after every class and needs to be done, set and sent back to us a day before the class. We communicate everything with the parents, good, bad, anything. We have to be open and transparent. Lastly, we are very committed to the student's success. Hence why during exam season, we increase our classes free of charge. We group the students together, we do exam practice, extra classes on a holiday, like Easter, half term, to really push their academic development. So our usual rates is about £35 per hour. So it's either 140 or 175, depending on the month. Some months will have, like March, will have 5 Saturdays, for example, or 5 Mondays, for example. And if your classes fall on that, then you have to pay 175. It works out to be about, for every 2 classes, for every 2 months, that's £140. The next month will be about 175. And then the group classes is £120 per month for 2 hours of group classes with 5 students in there, 5 to 10 students in there. This is the summer holiday discount, which is a special discount with a limited space. And it is, you get 1 hour per week of one-to-one classes with our tutor. You get 2 hours per week of group classes, mainly focused around exam-style practice questions. All of that for only £140 per month. So basically, you're getting a 3 group class if you take the one-to-one classes. It's a no-brainer. And it's fixed. It will never be 175. It will always be 140 every single month. There is a very limited amount of space. So I would strongly suggest you click on the form, you complete the form, and then you do the online test with your child. Make sure they're not cheating, and you book a free consultation with our tutor to get this all rolling and to get your child the best grade possible.